Hi guys, Glenn here from Alberts. Welcome to Beyond the Blend, a weekly podcast to inspire you all to make a change. We do this by opening the doors of our tech startup and inviting top-line relevant guests to have an open and transparent conversation. I'm jumping in here 10 p.m. Sunday night before this goes live with an intro to an intro. The preps of this podcast series have been amazing by the team. We got a super cool format, super cool concept. I'm really happy about it. I hope you all like it and I hope you all love it. And to top it all, we have a merch line that is going live now from this week. The first merch drop, an exclusive drop, is all about this podcast. We give away 10 for free. All the information in the description. I really love you all. Let's go to the intro. Hey guys, it's Glenn here. It's great to have you all here. It feels exciting, a bit scary. This is the intro to the first podcast. We're starting this podcast series. And in this first series, we really want to explain you why we're doing this, why we do what we do at Alberts, and why we do this podcast. I can't wait to do this and show you the next steps in the next weeks and the next months. We'll be doing this weekly, so it's going to be a bit of a ride to get this done weekly. But at the same time, we really want to open up and show you the ride of our day, of our every week. Alberts feels like the ride of a lifetime. We're here basically to open our doors. For a long time, we've been juggling with this idea, and now it's real. Now I'm standing here. I'm standing here in our warehouse, co-shared R&D center together with Voxdale. Let me give you a small glimpse of that. In the back, we have Ben, our early bird. First guest, Sebastian. Who is Sebastian? Sebastian is the podcast genius. You will get to know him here in the first episode. Sebastian is actually working on the podcast as the one who is creating the content, as the one who is defining the strategy. He was with us all summer in a total different role. He was working for us as a product designer. But on a nice evening together with the whole team, we discovered that he's a podcast lover, and that his ambition is to start creating. So here we are, opening our doors. The first podcast is all about the why. We'll be going weekly. Weekly means you can follow our journey. I'll be doing these intros in order to let you know what we're doing. And then after that, we'll have guests in order to get topics that we can drill down. Transparency is the key word. Okay, so we're going to be open. We're going to be very honest about how things are going. I think somehow this will be revealing and actually innovative on its own. And I'm just hoping you like it. Thank you for watching in this first one. And now on to the podcast. Welcome, everybody. We are here today. It's a special day. It's the first time that we are recording a podcast. And we do the podcast. Actually, it's the second time because we were rehearsing before. And we do that today with the lovely Sebastian. Woohoo! The audience is not there yet.
Live audience.
Yeah, indeed.
Fortunately.
It will grow.
It will come, yes.
So, Sebastian, we are here today to record the first podcast of Alberts. Alberts is our dear startup company. And I think it's nice to reflect how we have met. So, the very, very first time we've met was on the phone.
Yeah. I remember.
I'm sitting behind my computer, busy. Oh, receive phone call. Hello. Yeah, I've sent an email because you've sent an email.
Yes.
And I was like, sorry, I must have missed it. Or, it's about the internship. Is it then okay if I start?
Did I really say that?
That was your first sentence.
I can't remember.
And I was like, start. I don't know, dude. We have a selection process or at least an interview. And it was a Friday.
Yeah. It was a Friday before the week that I was supposed to start. So it was.
When would you like to start? And then you said, Monday. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Usually people's like today I receive an internship contract of somebody who will start in July, and the first interview was 2 months.
Yeah.
But so you're a design student at the University of Antwerp. We work very often with design students from the University of Antwerp.
Mm-hmm.
We also hired Lenny after the internship he did here. And then Sten, our other colleague, is also a design student, but he was from Kortrijk, another town in Belgium.
design student is more like product designers, actually.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to say you have a big love for podcasting
Yes.
or YouTube in general.
Yeah. Obviously podcasts are very common these days. Like you find millions of them. There's
Yes.
so many interesting podcasts, and I think I've been listening to podcasts for years. I feel like more than 5 years probably. Started with YouTube podcasts and eventually now I listen to all sorts of podcasts. But I really saw the evolution. Like now it's in Belgium really for the media companies. It's really big as well. Because they want.
But that's only recent, I think. Like only 1 or 2 years.
Yes, like probably around COVID, you know.
But
but because they realize the new media is gonna evolve in that way, and it has evolved actually. Should I say?
100%.
Yeah. So that's why it's interesting the scene right now, and I think the video aspect of podcasts is something really interesting too. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really download a lot of podcasts. Like, I don't really listen offline. Maybe you do.
No. Always.
I like the interaction of the video, and the interaction 100%. With the guests and the reactions. So that's my kind of podcast, YouTube podcasts. And obviously I love YouTube. Who doesn't?
Many. Who doesn't? Yeah, I think we underestimate that for the large part of society, YouTube is an unknown. YouTube is the thing where you check how your printer works.
Yes.
or only actually when it doesn't work.
Right,
But for me also, YouTube. So for me personally, I don't have social media, or I have LinkedIn. Because for the company as CEO, I'm very active on LinkedIn and I try to connect with many people. And actually, LinkedIn is a super. I'm a big fan also of LinkedIn. And then the only other social media I consume, let's say, is YouTube. And actually, very recently, so only during COVID, so let's say 2 years ago, I guess. Yeah, you go out less, also with the company, less traveling, less being outside, so you're more inside. So I started to watch YouTube. And that for me was really, honestly, a revelation. I had no idea. Like, for me, I was the guy who checked YouTube to see how does my printer. I don't have a printer, but just for how-to videos or for, just for stuff like that. And then I started to discover in YouTube they call them the creators. Started checking creators, started checking podcasts, and what I really loved about it, actually, already from the beginning, is that if you take a look at something. Let's say a television star or a movie star, when you get to know, like in the past, when you got to know a little bit more about them was in a talk show. When it was still full television, everything was television. If they went to a talk show, you could see a bit more, right? Yeah. Then it was a bit more like, okay, how are you doing? But still it was very framed, like in the US, the Tonight Show or the... So, but still it's almost even scripted. But now... What I love about the podcast, and I think that's also the theme of our podcast, is bringing transparency into a startup and bringing a look inside a startup, a tech startup, to inspire people. Like, how does it work there? How can I help to make a change? And I really take that parallel. If you take a look at even the real big stars, you see them in podcasts, and then you get to know more. They start talking a lot, and
that's interesting that you brought that up, because that's the one thing that I really like about podcasts. And obviously in the US, a lot of famous stars and famous like actors, writers, just you name it, they have been probably on a podcast somewhere.
Exactly. And so you can listen to 2 hours when they're talking, amazing, they're drinking something, they are, depends on the format, sometimes they're literally even drinking alcohol, sometimes they're smoking weed and eating mushrooms, but the other ones are just more talking on a normal way, or interview style a bit more. But it's lovely, actually. Actually, interview is the wrong word, it's more like a conversation.
Yes.
You just get to know the person a bit more, and they reveal stuff. So it really started playing in my mind big time, like, that is... Oh shit, I was planning to swear.
I'll edit that out. Maybe.
That one just flashed. Is it still recording or not? And that one flashes now as well. Look.
Oh my god.
And now this one's gonna go as well, probably. probably there's like a time limit, but we just put it back on. It's no problem. But the audio is still running. We take a small intermezzo and we fix the cameras.
1 hour later.
Okay, we're back. The cameras were... we f***ed up the cameras a bit. So, a good example. So we've been talking about YouTube and then how basically this is taking over a little bit. Because if you take a look, Steve-O, okay? Most people in the world have heard about Steve-O. It's one of the main characters of Jackass. So I'm now 33 years old. When I was young, I was checking, I think, Jackass when I was, 15 years old or something like that. It was, I think, on MTV or something like that. There you could check it. And then they had their own shows and then at a certain point a movie in the theaters, etc., etc. But now, Steve-O via his podcast.
Yeah, I've known him, like I've watched him before, but I can't remember when the first time. I think it's probably a funny story because I know the Dudesons first.
I don't know.
But you know them. you have to look them up sometime.
Okay.
It's like the Finnish version of Jackass.
Okay.
But so there's a real cultural difference between
of
Finland
course,
and
I can
so,
imagine.
but still they are the same crazy guy. Like
okay.
they have the same crazy stunts and maybe even crazier.
Okay.
So and at some point they collabed with Jackass. They did like a movie, The Dudesons in America, and then
that was already YouTube or not?
No, that was
before.
I think on Finnish television. Like they were the big, the most watched series and probably also films. But they shot in America, and then they met with certain Jackass stars like Steve-O and others, obviously. But they met also during a time when after that, when YouTube was there a few years ago, like I would say like 5 years ago, they did some collabs. Like in the old days, YouTubers did collabs. And then it was like short YouTube movies, like 10-15 minutes. And then they did a stunt together. And that's, I think, how I got to know Steve. So a bit unorthodox.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's a good example of
Yeah.
how that's changing, right?
Yeah.
And then, so if we then take the leap towards Albert, I think it's an amazing opportunity for us to try, or I feel it almost as a little bit part of our purpose, actually, because like we've said in the long intro, I mean, with Alberts, we try to, so why is Alberts there? And then maybe why do we podcast, So I think it's clear that Alberts is there because we want to make healthy food the easiest option, right? You enter a general building, what can you get quickly? You can quickly get a soda, you can quickly get a candy bar or something like that. But it's not that easy to get pure fruit in a sexy format that you can drink and that you can enjoy, fruit or vegetables. So that's our why, and then we are deploying all our food robotics and all our brand building skills with our team in order to try to get it to the market. And then the second core value of Albert, so the first one is healthiness. It was from day one. Actually on this table, a bit closer, good idea. Actually from day one, it was actually on this table.
Really?
It was really on this table, but the table was turned 90 degrees.
And what happened?
So on this table, we had the first meetings of Albert's. No, the idea was already made, but the first engineering meetings. So we already worked for almost a year then on the idea and trying to find funding. But the first time that we could hire or in-source engineers to work on the concept was here in the room. And then Philip and I, Philip, co-founder of Albert's as well, we wrote on a piece of paper 2 words and we said, look, everything we do needs to be healthy and everything we do needs to be transparent. These are the 2 things. And now if you look at the machine, I mean, that's what we've always tried to do with the machine. Like, it needs to be healthy. It needs to be transparent. You need to see the ingredients and what comes out needs to be healthy. So that second core value, transparency, okay, it's clear with the window, but actually I always felt already from day one that, as a small startup, and certainly in the beginning, startup is even a too fluffy word, like a too big word already. You're just 2 dudes. Then whatever it doesn't matter how honest or how transparent you try to be, you do one thing, and it's you try to make everything look as nice as possible, because you try to get people into the story in order to grow towards a point like right now where we're building machines and it's in production and we go international. But that's 6 years in the making. So in all these first years, and even today, if you take a look at LinkedIn, that's why. So I love LinkedIn because it's efficient. I need to reach somebody, I got it in 5 minutes. I need to post something about an update, I get it to people in the business world in 1 minute. But if we're all honest, LinkedIn is like a fairy tale. Everybody's showing their good side. And if people one time show their bad side, the only reason why they do it is because they want to show how authentic they are. So even that is not actually a show. So it was already frustrating me a long time. But I know firsthand, and I always use this as an analogy. Yes, you try to be honest, and yes, you try to be transparent, but nobody's going naked to a party, right? Everybody's going dressed up to a party.
Yeah,
Everybody's using perfume. I mean, you don't go to a meeting, you say, or to a date, and you say, hey, actually, at night, my farts stink. Yeah, no, of course. You try to make yourself look enjoyable and beautiful. So it's the same with a company, and even more, and I think that's very normal. But what I love, and then we go a bit to the clue with our first story, is like, I think these podcasts or YouTube or Spotify or any of these platforms, they offer a unique opportunity to show what's going on. And then the question is, why would you like to do that? Because it's not just like Coca-Cola is not going to write on a billboard, this is all the problems we have. Of course not. But I think why we can do that, and I think it should be part of our something that we might be proud of most, even maybe at the end, is if we can really achieve to inspire people, not only people who start a company, but even people who think about technology, who think about how can we, what kind of jobs do I want to do, right? The world cannot be only there to just go out and do a job. Like the reason is like, there has to be a reason, like what do you want to achieve? What do you want to contribute to? And I think startups very often have that unique position in society where you can actually do something new, where you can convince people, often investors, but also team members to say, hey, let's do something new. Let's try to do something totally out of this world. Where 7 years ago they told us, what the hell are you doing with this robot and frozen fruits? Go away, this is crazy. But now people say, it actually makes sense. So to come to the point, I think, why do we want a podcast? We want a podcast to inspire people in general. That can be youngsters, that can be people who are in the second half of their career, let's say, to inspire them to join or to build startups or to contribute to startups with the end goal to mainly, often via tech startups, try to do something new, try to do something innovative, and try to change a certain situation. I think if we can do that by showing the real insights, I think that could be refreshing in a certain way on the market, because like it's not too often that people really do that bluntly. And at the same time, I think it can also be refreshing for our team as well, that we can really, in a longer format, outspeak like, what are we doing and why are we doing this, and like, how does it really go? And
I think that's very true. Everything what you said, like I can imagine everything. But I would also add to that probably what you think as well is be maybe also an inspiration to others that are right now in a startup already, and they see like, okay, so we're not alone with the struggles, I guess.
Exactly.
And it's gonna be good for them as well, I think.
You're totally right.
A really honest look and a real interesting inside look to a tech startup.
Exactly, and I have that so often. Like if we go to many events via networks that we are with, or events that are right into our business, and then once you speak with other entrepreneurs or with other founders of companies, like it doesn't take very long before you can say to each other like, yeah, that's shit, and we're in trouble there. But then I open LinkedIn and everything's fine. And we contribute to that as well. And I think that's normal. There is a platform for everything. There is a party and you make yourself up. That's fine. But if you have a good friend and you sit in the sofa, you talk about how things go. So of course we will still have some things we are not going to say. Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, of course. Even for your mom, there are things you don't say. I think that's all normal. What we're gonna try to do is to really make a shift. So we're gonna try to say, you know what? Let's open up on topics. And let's try to give an insight in order to inspire and in order to strengthen everybody to believe that making a change in the end can work. You know, even if it's hard, you can still, like, we're not only going to talk negative, right? We're also going to talk positive.
I hope so.
That people can still see, like, wow, this and that happened, but now they're there, or that happened, but they could change that. So we're going to take a look also in the past, because there's a lot of things that already happened, right? And also there we have to be honest about. But we're also going to take a look at today and at the future.
I really am looking forward to the stories of the past. I think that I can't wait to watch it or to record it.
Certain things about the past make me a little nervous, but, but I think it should be okay. I think maybe let's detail a little bit your role in the whole story.
Yes.
So I think actually it was actually in Brussels. So we had a team event in Brussels. And we drank many grain-based drinks there, to not say beers. And it was there where it was just a rush out of your mouth, like it was a rush of thoughts that came out where you said, "Wow, I know you're working on this podcast, but can I not join that? And you have to do that better. And this can be fantastic. This can be great." And I was like, whoa.
I'm gonna be honest. I cannot confirm that I remember everything.
But I know for sure you don't remember certain parts.
But now you say it, you're right. We did talk. I think a long time.
It was outside in Brussels. You have a beautiful square at Palais de la Justice. The Justice Court, I guess. Where you have a beautiful view on the city.
It was amazing that evening, there were a lot of colleagues and there was a lot of partying going on, and I really liked that evening. And you're right, there was a lot of inspiration and a lot of ideas and if I look back, I think those ideas were already in my mind. I
probably 2 years without knowing.
Yes, not that long actually, because I've always loved video and podcast. Like it's a part of video. I like it's more audio based, but I like the video aspect as well.
Yeah, me too. Way more.
But so that has been part of my interest for a long time. I used to record videos on my first phone. It was like Nokia whatever, and it was like VJ quality, but with like stop motion and all the way up to like recording movies for school or for in high school as well. Nice. And now for university, I'm gonna do a nice movie for the product that we are designing. So this I remembered, like if I look back to those parts of my life, that those video aspects really I really enjoy them. So it's actually a few weeks or actually months probably that I realized like I wanna try that direction. And it was also when the movie day was actually the part before we went out at night.
Yeah, actually, true.
We recorded
the movie day is
the
movie of
for
Alberts.
Alberts.
Actually, it's this one.
And right. So that inspired me even more because I was already like thinking I want to go that direction, try to do like different things. And then I saw the movie and I really was inspired as well by Cyril who made the movie with us, with his story. And then obviously the podcast was already an idea for a long time for you, for the company. So all these things came together. Yeah, came together. And then I realized like it's very nice to be a part of this. Like
but
that would be nice. And I'm really grateful and happy that I'm the part of this now, and that
Yeah, but
that
I'm
we
happy
can
that you
build.
want to do it. So I think we have to give a shout out to Kiss. She's actually also in the picture. It's all even unprepared. Which is- So Kes has done all the, let's say, the grunt work of the podcast. So when Kes is also a training student, she joined us about the same time, like a bit earlier, I think.
a bit
1 month earlier.
bit earlier.
Yeah. And so Kes is actually a true marketing student. So your product designer, Kes is really true marketing. And with Kes we started from zero. So I know that the right direction for Alberts was to do something in video podcasting and podcasting, but it was very difficult for me to really get a grasp on how, what, but mainly why. That is actually the main thing. Why? And then we can maybe already reveal that in the next podcast we're going to talk about the what and about the how. First the how and then the what. It's the Simon Sinek theory of the golden circle theory, where
Yes.
where you start from the why and then you try to explain how and what. The example they always give is Apple. Like you could say Apple, they sell laptops and phones, but that's actually what they do.
Yeah.
So why they do it is they want to make consumer interfaces as intuitive as possible and make products to love. And then how they do that is that in the end by making these products that can really change your life, and then what they do is sell laptops. So a bit the same here. So the why was for me the most important, because just starting with a podcast, okay, yeah, we can buy some material and we can just start talking. But I think now we really grasped why we want to do this. And then also the what and the how, I actually can't wait to start already, but it's the next one. I think that's also really nice. We have a nice format now that we're going to explore and going to extend. And then so we have to give a shout out to Kes, because she really did the grunt work.
For sure, yes.
She selected all materials,
Yeah.
and she was very patient to start brainstorming with me, because we're very, very, very busy all day. So working on a video podcast is really like to do number 35. Maybe we can say what time it is now. It's now 11:15 p.m. Sunday. So it's an indication of
The live at Albert.
the live at Albert's maybe, but also about the priority. Like it's very hard to put this on the number one while there are so many things we have to focus on. But I think through Kes, who was as an intern, she could work freely and she could, she could guide me basically through it. So we found a good why. The format, there is a basis of a format, and I'm super happy that you will jump in now for everything which is production related.
Yes. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Like I already
He's gonna be
said,
the fucking genius. I already know that.
I love this. I'm not gonna be a guest. I'm not gonna sit here at the table a lot of the time. I think this will maybe be the last time, but who knows?
Not the last time.
Not the last time. But obviously I enjoy the parts that are behind the cameras, like
Yes.
operating the cameras, and also the editing and the production part, really.
And the strategy part, because you're very much up to date with how YouTube moves. So I think we will have a nice journey together and maybe we can already reveal it will be a weekly thing. It's more the how and the what, but it will be hard, because weekly is a lot. Maybe we can also detail that you're still a student, so you will be combining it with your studies, and I will have to combine it with everything else that we're doing. But I love it. I love it. Also, the speed weekly is hard. Actually, everywhere they say be careful for weekly because it will be a mess. But I like it. It's a challenge. I'm gonna go for it. And I think maybe we can close the why chapter with this. Maybe one more time. Why are we doing this? I think we can make a change by really opening our doors, showing how we work, what we work on, when it's bad, when it's good, show a little bit more our naked selves. Why? Because I think we can inspire people in general to work at startups, join startups, people at startups, to talk more openly about how things are going, and to try in tech startups to join them and make a change. I think we have so many talented people that start their careers. And I think in the end, if you look back, you have to think, what did I change? And often, not always, but often in tech startups, there is a space where new things happen. And not always, but often it's like that. So I think that's a beautiful space to be.
Yeah, I think it's
We close it up. We wrap it up.
yes.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. or we should watch there. So it was the first time. Thank you very much. We're gonna jump over to the next one pretty soon. But we hope you enjoyed it. It's the first week. Welcome at Albert's. Welcome inside Albert's. So let's go.